I believe that if we are honest with ourselves, that the most fascinating problem in the world is who am I? What do you mean? What do you feel when you say the word I myself?
I want to fly the train!
I don't give a fuck!
Oh, jeez. Hey, what's going on, man?
You keep using that phone. It doesn't think it is what you think it is.
Oh, jeez. Hey, what's going on?
I don't give a fuck!
Oh, jeez. Hey, what's going on, man?
You can't get out of this!
Oh, jeez. Stop joining your friends, you widow.
I think that I am familiar with the fact that you are going to ignore this particular problem until it swings up and bites you on the ass.
Psych, just kidding. My new catchphrase is, I don't give a fuck!
It's asking a lot to believe that the problem is going to fix itself.
Guess what, bitch?
Our technology and our numbers have both reached a state where inadvertently we can pose a danger to the global environment, especially through the atmosphere.
The whales have a 15-foot penis. Are you a pervert or something? Okay.
Now, nobody pretends we understand everything about the global climate.
I didn't cut out. You heard me. Google it yourself.
There are feedbacks, some of which you warm the Earth a little bit, and the tendency will be to further increase the temperature, so-called positive feedback.
What I'm saying is the planet's on fucking fire.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win.
I don't give a fuck!
Y'all can't hear me. Okay, there we go. Got it. Muted. I was muted. That's the way to start off the first live show back. Technical difficulties with GE. Technical difficulty. Oh shit. With GE. All right, so now that we got the technical difficulties out of the way, we survived COVID. This is the first live stream back from surviving COVID. We, like I said before, we really appreciate everybody's well wishes and checking in on us and everything like that. We really appreciate you guys doing that. It's been an interesting month so far. It still feels like December in a lot of ways, like December 2020. But we're gonna just we're gonna get back to it. We're gonna trudge. We're gonna trudge through it through this mess that we find ourselves in. And today we are going to be taking a look at a somewhat new channel called Faith Q&A, and they are producing 4 videos, narrated or voiced, or the main person that's making all of the content, I guess, is Kate Palazzi, and she is going to be making the case that the Bible is accurate. As you all know, I find that opinion to be shit. So we're going to go through her video tonight. I'm going to explain why she's wrong on just about everything in the video, and we're going to have a good time doing it. Are you guys ready to get started?
I'm ready.
You're ready, honey?
Yeah.
Good. I know I'm ready. Let's see if we can get this Stream Deck stuff going. All right. Well, as you guys know, here on the Godless Engineer YouTube channel, if you don't remember, we do Today I Learned, and that's the first segment, as always. Today I Learned! Woohoo! I know, I do a perfect Mario at the end. Woohoo! That's flipping Mario, if you couldn't tell. Okay, so first up on Today I Learned, we have the 1966 Fair Labor Standards Act, which raised the minimum wage for several economic sectors, led to a sharp rise in earnings for workers, but without any adverse aggregate effect on employment. The minimum wage increases also played a critical role in reducing the racial wage gap in the U.S. So, just to repeat, since 1966, we have known that raising the minimum wage has not negatively affected employment rates, employment numbers, or anything like that. Just saying, quit spreading bullshit. All right, let's get to our next Today I Learned fact. Next on Today I Learned that Ida invented tater tots to make use of the leftover potato shavings from their French fries production. I have to say, that's very awesome. Yeah, I know. That way they're not wasting food. They're making money off of their garbage. What? Waste product? Garbage? But yeah, I thought that was interesting that's actually how tater tots came into being. It's quite interesting. Before we get to this final Today I Learned tonight, I want to know, guys, what are y'all drinking tonight? I'm drinking Diet Vanilla Coke with moonshine. Is this extra?
Sort of.
Sort of extra? The perfect excuse for me fucking up. All right. So, first up, or the last Today I Learned is that Eddie Murphy recorded Party All the Time following a $1 million bet with Richard Pryor that he couldn't sing. The album it appears on is dedicated to Pryor, with the liner notes reading, "To Richard Pryor, my idol, with whom I have a $1 million bet. No, motherfucker, I didn't forget." I can't wait for Coming to America too. Well, I guess it's just Coming to America, but it's the number 2 in the middle. But anyways, yeah, I just thought that was funny. No, motherfucker, I didn't forget. All right, and then next we don't really have a good transition for this, but comments of the day. Prepare to facepalm yourself in the next week. All right. So first comment. We have this person. So the original tweet was, "Periods should last 1 hour. 4 to 5 days is excessive." I think it is excessive. I couldn't go through that once a month for 4 to 5 days. Oh,
Woo! Bear money!
woo! Bear money! Thank you, Wacko in Seattle. We got Ida has a plant near Oregon, Idaho border. Just a little bit of money. Thank you, Brocephus. And Uhan says, random interrupting chat. If you'll notice, we have Brocephus doing the alerts tonight. So super Skeptic Mafia members and super chats will all get announced by Brocephus throughout the stream. There's different Brocephus messages for the $1.99, $4.99, $9.99, $19.99, and $24.99. So if you guys want to see all of the messages from Brocephus this week, you gotta hit up the super chats and stuff. The Skeptic Mafia one is especially unique, so I hope that somebody joins the Skeptic Mafia tonight. But hey, you know what? Before we get to this, I do want to remind you guys that here on the Godless Engineer channel, we do. Wait, I gotta let this play. Oh shit! This is a bigger one.
To make sure you don't lose any of my bills. This is gonna be way too distracting.
These are going to charity today. Generally here on the Godless Engineer YouTube channel, what we do is we dedicate a certain amount of money that's generated from super chats, from Skeptic Mafia memberships, as well as ad revenue on the channel, and we donate that money to some kind of charity that we pick. This month, it's going to be the North Alabama Food Bank, where we're going to be donating what basically amounts to 2,100 meals for people that don't have food to eat in North Alabama. And roughly $1 donated equals 7 meals bought. Okay? Just roughly about 7 meals. So, generally, we can count on about $300 being able to be donated to any one charity any month. So that's kind of where we start at, is $300. And that's all of our donations this month are going to be going towards that North Alabama Food Bank. So thank you so much, Cadence. Dave Lee says, sorry for what I did to the comments tonight. This might not be enough. Thank you so much, Dave. All right, let's get to the comments, shall we? Okay, so this guy says, caused by woman with the issue of blood in the Bible. Women are lucky she encountered Jesus, else periods would be lifetime.
What?
I don't understand why... I don't understand why it would be a lifetime. Like, why would you have a period your entire life? That's never been a biological thing ever. I don't think there's no organism at all that ever has that. Oh, we got Daniel M doing 1999 saying, here are some for the food bank. Missed you two. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate it. All right. Yeah, I don't understand what this guy's thinking. Now, there is this one story in the New Testament of a woman that had been having her period for, what was it, 12 years? Yeah, 12 years, because that's a significant number. So there was a woman that that had her period for 12 years. She touched Jesus and Jesus healed her, and she just a little bit of money. and she was cured of it. So I think maybe that's what he's referencing here, like the fact that she had like 12 years of a period. Uhan says, I'm annoying. Well, Uhan, I love the Brocephus announcements, okay? Yes, it does make it very entertaining. All right, let's see. I'm not annoyed yet. I mean, maybe I will one day.
Beer money.
Fuck yeah, beer money. Thank you, Cadence. She says I'm more annoying than Wuhan.
Sorry, I took cough medicine.
It's okay, hon. Uh-oh. Elizabeth did 30. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Oh shit, this is a bigger one.
We got Elizabeth that says, just want to see Brocephus again, and it's a good cause. Glad to see you both doing better and getting better. Thank you, Elizabeth. And then we got Uhan Roderick that says, challenge accepted. The pedantic skeptic says, I got the moves like Jagga. Quentin Van Boeven says, weekly tithes from time off. Side note, have you tried the charred shine from the same company as the blue flame?
Oh shit, this is a bigger one.
I haven't. I haven't tried that one. I'll have to try it. What proof is that? Because that's the big question right there. What's the proof? And then Metalhead says, let's feed some hungry mouths out there. I am a big advocate of helping the homeless and those in need. Thank you so much, Metalhead, for the donation. Wow. That's a lot of super chats. Thank you guys so much. All right. So curious if you need thousands of armed police, military to protect you at inauguration. Did you really win fairly? Yes. Biden did win fairly. We had a whole election over it. Was it over 80 million people voted for Biden? And Trump.
Yeah, 81 and change.
Yeah, 81 million and change.
Woo! Beer money.
Fucking beer money. I need the beer money. So yes, he did win fairly. I mean, you realize that the reason why it is needed, like the police and military are needed at the
Just a little bit of money
at the inauguration, is because you guys stormed the Capitol. Like, you stormed the Capitol and you caused the police and military to have to get involved. Not only that, but there's also a pandemic out there. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Thank you so much, Cadence, who says, would you stop reading super chats and get on with the stream? Well, damn.
Woo! Beer money.
The pedantic skeptic says Brocephus should have his own OnlyFans. I don't think so. Vanta Blue says, hush, Cadence. All right. So yes, Biden did win fairly. You guys caused the police to be necessary. Uhan Roderick says Onyx and Sterling the cats wanted to help feed people in memory of their big sister. Thank you so much, Onyx and Sterling. Appreciate y'all. Okay, let's get on with these comments. We got a lot of stuff to get through tonight. Oh man, here's a complicated one to respond to. I'm glad I put it in here though. All right, so this is on one of my responses to Inspiring Philosophy. And this guy, TJ, says, are you this dumb? The story dates back to 2000 BC. Crucifixion, even in its most primitive forms, were invented only in the 6th century. That's not true, because crucifixion is a bit more involved, I guess you could say.
Beer money.
Than just simply Roman crucifixion. Crucifixion actually goes way, way back. It's a type of suspension, torture, and execution device. Crucifixion is seen, at least in historical terms, as any hanging up of bodies, whether dead or alive, for either punishment or execution. This would include pinning up on a wall, hanging up on a wall, hanging up on a tree, anything like that. But also impalement was also a form of crucifixion. The crux simplex was where you actually nailed someone to a pole. But as far as crucifixion goes, it's a much larger topic than just Roman crucifixion. And I think that's where most Christians really kind of get confused by it. And then a second comment from him says, except there isn't even the slightest parallel. Trips to the underworld in religions are common. She was never even died. That's grammatically fucked. She wasn't even crucified. There's no parallel. Well, so talking about Anana, right? It in a very basic understanding of what crucifixion is, Anana was her dead body. She was made dead. She was killed and then hung up on a wall on a hook. It is a type of crucifixion because it meets all the criteria to be considered crucifixion. It's to display her body as a form of punishment, and she was being punished at that time as well. So this would meet all the requirements for crucifixion. They have this weird concept that crucifixion only means Roman crucifixion, but that's not true. Also, I like how he both tries to refute me, but then refutes himself in just the next sentence, because he says there's not the slightest parallel, but yet trips of the underworld in religions are common. So, I mean, it kind of seems like there would be a parallel there, especially with the fact that in the New Testament, Jesus supposedly goes to the underworld and, absolves people of their sins and brings them up to heaven, supposedly. So I do believe that there is a very big parallel there. All right. This is just fucking hilarious. Not much to say about it. Florida man, 37, arrested for kidnapping 27 people and forcing them to play Yahtzee for 36 hours straight. 36 hours straight. Just think about that. Could you play Yahtzee for 36 hours straight?
No.
Fuck no. All right. So sorry, Daniel, I didn't get to your super chat earlier. He says, my late wife's family, my brother and now my friend Garrett, are on the election was rigged train. That is fucking scary, man. I'm so sorry about that. That's got to be tough interacting with them. I wouldn't be able to do it. So more power to you. And then this one's just funny. Wheelbase Knowles says, yeah, you were probably just part of the science agenda. Hey, if I could actually get an invite to the science agenda, I would really love an invite. So, I hope that you guys will invite me one day, because I'd really love to be part of this particular agenda. I'll be the secretary. I don't give a fuck. All right. Well, that is it for the comments. But now, of course, we got to get to... Do you know what we got to get to, honey? Shitty ass science. Shitty ass science. Bring out the answers of science shit really wrong. Woo! Bear money! Y'all don't even know what kind of mess I just made.
Was my money in that?
No, your money wasn't in it.
Okay.
I gotta get all this shit out because I'm gonna be walking. Oh shit. This takes like 5 minutes to clean up. I can't clean up all these bills.
Gee, clean it up later.
Yeah, I know. I gotta clean my area. Fuck. I did not think this through. All this goddamn money. We're gonna give it to the food bank. That's who we're gonna give it to. Jesus H. fucking Christ. I can say that because I'm Christian, by the way. Anyways, hey Hey, y'all, how y'all doing? We're going to be looking at some crazy ass shit. First, we got some political science to go over. All right, first up, Biden already said he is going to round up all the homeless people in America, and they will be assigned to people's homes, and they will be living with you. Let's see how well you fucktards do with that when your kids or wife is being violated and all the shit you work so hard for. And let's see, it cut off, but I think there's more. Work so hard for is at the pawn shop. Now, I don't know where this person got it from, but that is nothing that Biden has ever said. I realize that I'm somewhat of a conservative Christian here, and you know, I've got my own opinions about different things, but at least I know this is not something that Biden has actually said. The pedantic skeptic says, "How is this shitty ass science? This is political science." I'm just lumping that under political science. I just thought this was really dumb. I wanted to point it out to y'all. This is some stupid shit right here. This is what QAnon does to your ass. Huh?
Did you say this is political science?
This is political science right here, because it's dumb as fuck. You okay over there?
Yeah. I'm worried.
All right.
Cough drops up there?
Yeah, I got no cough drops. I'll give you some cough drops.
Thank you.
There you go. See, I'm not a heartless bitch, some people think. All right. People are fucking idiots. Coming out strong, I like it. My neighbor's kid just tried to tell me that bats are mammals. Mammals don't fly. We walk and are confined to the ground. No wonder my family in Sweden thinks Americans are dumb. Y'all truly need to educate your kids better. Bats are birds. Didn't the Bible, put bats in the bird column?
Yes.
Okay, bats are birds. I agree with this motherfucker. Listen, mammals, that just means you walk on the ground and you piss out your penis. Or vagina. Wait, no. You don't piss out the vagina, do you?
No, urethra. And that's for both.
Urethra. Your urethra. Sorry, I gotta get that right. You know, I gotta admit, this is a little hard for me to agree with this guy on. Because that's not what mammals are. Holy shit. It's getting harder for me to do shitty ass science. I'm just telling y'all. Bats are not birds. They are mammals, okay? They're mammals because they give birth to their young live. And let's see, what makes a mammal? I spelled that. Mammals have hair and fur, are warm-blooded. Most are born alive. The young are fed milk produced by the mother's mammary glands, and they have a more complex brain than other mammals. There you go. So they have hair, fur, warm-blooded, born alive, milk. And I remember I saw Jackson Wheat today say that, can we officially rename mammals to boob animals? And I agree with that. Mammals are boob animals. So, yes, I would say that bats are boob animals.
And follow Jackson Wheat.
Follow Jackson Wheat for more, I was going to say for more cooking recipes. No, for those particular recipes, you follow Ozzy Osbourne. But I'm just saying, it's really hard for me to agree with this guy. I realize that the Bible lumped bats in with birds. But honestly, I feel like that's just an error of the author. He misheard God. He was busy sucking on God's dick, and, he thought that he said, oh, bats are birds. But it was no, bats are mammals, motherfucker. Don't mess that up. But he was too busy really getting to it on the God. So I that's understandable. I think this guy's just a little bit confused about the Bible stuff. So I hope that cleared things up for you. If you want to do super chats to help feed homeless people, please do. We would really love to feed more and more people this year. And we're going to be donating to the North Alabama Food Bank. And yeah, y'all have a nice night. I know GE's going to be talking about biblical accuracy, and I'm going to disagree the fuck with him.
We're also donating diabetes supplies to Insulin for Life.
Oh yeah, and we also donate diabetes supplies for to Insulin for Life. All right, guys, I will see y'all later. Bye, heathens. Oh shit. Hold on. Ah. I think Bro Cephas covered that pretty well with.
He also drank some of your drink.
He did. That's okay.
And made a mess.
Just a little
Kaden
bit.
says, nom, 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 nom. Thank you so much, Cadence, for that. I'm sure Bro Cephas is going to pop up here in just a second. But yeah, so this guy's dumb. In the Bible, it does lump bats in with birds, but obviously they're not birds. They are mammals. So, all right, are you guys ready to get to the response video tonight? I know I am. It's already 9 o'clock. It's going to be really tough for us to get through this in time.
I'm ready.
You ready? Okay, here we go. Hold on. I got a thing. 1 second. I'll find it. What are we doing? This way. Oh, there we go.
Just a little bit of money.
Notifications. So we got Uhan Roderick, who says, I'm copying Cadence. All right, so this is Kate Palazzi. Palazzi. Kate Palazzi. My eyebrow's getting in my way. And she's going to be defending biblical accuracy. Now, I do have another video that's already edited up, and I'm trying to get it exported, but Adobe's being a little bit of a bitch right now. So I'm going to have that out probably tomorrow sometime. Also tomorrow, before we get into the video, I'm going to be on the Tart channel. We're going to be live, and we're going to be discussing, or having a debate rather, on the historicity of Jesus. So if you like the history sort of debate, then you can come and check me out over on Tart, the Tart channel, for a live debate on the historicity of Jesus. Yeah, yeah. Oh, you are? Casey's going to put a link in the chat. Uhan, I'm not sure why Bro Cephas isn't popping up for you. I got the notifications on and stuff.
It did already.
Oh, did it?
Mm-hmm.
Did it pop up for Cadence too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. I got mixed up. I've been waiting for it. Anyways, we got the Atheist Roundtable that I'm going to be on, and so let's get to this video. Oh yeah, and then Sunday, I am going to be on the line. I'm going to be hosting on the line with Dr. Josh Bowen, and we're just going to be taking calls. It can be on slavery, can be on anything you want to. God, the Bible, probably not politics. I think that's meant for like Matt Dillahunty's show on Thursdays. But anyways, I'm going to be on the line on Sunday night, so y'all come on by, give me a call or something. I'll try not to give you COVID. I don't have COVID anymore. All right, let's get to this shit. Is life an accident? Is the Bible accurate? Is Jesus the Son of God? The heavens declare the glory of God. And the sky above proclaims his handiwork. Also, look at the trees. I comment on this particular part on tomorrow's video too, but I love how she opens up her entire thing by talking about how she's going to address these things, but then also uses a look at the trees argument. She uses a look at the trees argument by using Bible verses. It's just so amazing to me that look at the trees is a convincing argument to some people, because I don't find it convincing whatsoever. I don't know if you guys find it convincing. I really don't.
Is the Bible accurate?
No.
How can we know? In the last 2 episodes, we looked at the unbelievably precise measurements of our planet for life, and then the likelihood of a cell being created on accident. We also explored 3 simple arguments against Darwinism. I think we can all agree that our planet and the fact that we even exist is astounding, but maybe you still aren't convinced that that necessarily means we have a creator who has purposefully designed us in our world.
So I don't cover all of that because there's actually one video between this video and the video I'm releasing tomorrow. I do plan on doing responses to all of the 4 videos that she says she's putting up. In the very first video, she kind of goes over proof of a God, or a creator, God rather. In her second video, she goes over why evolution's bunk, which I know, crazy. In that particular video, we're going to look at that sometime in the next couple weeks. But you don't really need to know any of that for the purposes of this video. Everything that she said, though, was totally ridiculous. Obviously, she hasn't disproven Darwinism. Obviously, she hasn't shown that life needs a creator. There's no argument out there that seriously establishes that God is needed for life to exist.
World. I really want to tell you that you are not an accident. You are not the result of cells bumping together randomly. You were designed on purpose by a God who adores you. Let's keep building on these findings and move on.
All right, before we move on, there's a fundamental flaw with her saying that, because basically she's telling children and people with cancer that God designed them to get cancer. I mean, honestly, I feel like that kind of makes you an asshole if you purposefully designed somebody to have cancer. Okay, that literally makes you an asshole. You're also admitting that, like, people are created by this God. Their life is planned out by this God. And God knows what they're going to do in their life, right? Well, then God knows about all the bad shit that person's going to do. God knew well beforehand that Hitler was going to be a really big dick, right? He knew well beforehand. He still let it happen. If I sit there and I watch somebody murder another person and I do nothing to try to stop them, I mean, does that make me a bad person? I don't know. You could see it as me being a bad person. Like, here's the big difference. If you have the capability to stop the person that is murdering another person and you don't stop the person, I think that kind of makes you a dick. I think that makes you a bad person. Because if you have the means to stop them, you know that you could stop them if you wanted to, but you don't. That's a problem. And that's the exact position that God finds him in, especially when he's given this all-powerful creator of the universe kind of title. Also, Daniel M. says, Jinx, you owe me a Coke. From when she asked if the Bible's accurate, you don't really owe me a Coke. Just get the homeless some. Thank you so much, Daniel. Let's see, that's $20. That's 1,400 meals? No, 140 meals. $20, 140 meals. Yeah. Yes. My math is off. Don't mind me.
Controversial book of all time, the Bible. By a vast measure, the Bible is the most printed book of all time. When I looked up the top 10 printed books, none of the lists were the same, of course. They each recorded different books in different orders, but there were two things the same in every single list. Number one, the Bible was always listed at the top with numbers in the billions. Number two, the second book in every list, though they were all of course varied, are each numbered in the millions. The Bible has been printed and circulated at least 6 times more than any other book in history.
So, this says nothing about whether or not it's true. I'm sure Harry Potter has been printed millions of times over. Not as much as the Bible, but then again, Harry Potter isn't worshipped as a major religion that has had its its hands on society for thousands of years, well, hundreds of years. It's over 1,000 years, hundreds of years, however you want to say that. Christianity has had enough time to generate that much literature, I guess. So this literally has nothing to do with whether or not it's accurate or with whether or not anything in it is true. You're just using big numbers to try to suggest to your audience that the Bible's true because it's been printed a lot. I feel like that's what you're trying to suggest here.
So the Bible is the most printed book.
Yeah.
3.9 billion copies sold over the last 50 years. Quotations from the works of Mao Zedong.
Sing song? Like a sing-along?
No. Came in second with 820 million copies sold, and Harry Potter in third with 400 million copies.
400 million copies. See?
But the Bible has 3.9 billion in the last 50 years. Harry Potter hasn't been around for 50 years, so.
Right.
We'll see how it goes.
No, you're fine.
I figured you would just repeat it. My bad.
People like hearing from you, honey. All right.
History. Why? It has been imperative for me to research the Bible and its integrity. If I'm going to live my life and follow it, then I need to know that it's true. So let's go over some questions. Is the Bible true? One factor that sets the Bible apart from any other world religious writing is that its remarkable consistency.
I'm sorry. The consistency of the Bible? No, the Bible is not consistent. It jumps all over the place. There's contradictions in the Old Testament. There's contradictions in the New Testament. Like, I don't know what in the fuck you mean by consistency. Here's consistency for you. Let's go directly to the Gospels because that's what Christians normally just like to go directly into, right? In the Gospels, you have 2 completely different birth stories for their Savior. Neither of them happened, of course, but there's 2 different ones. How can you say it's consistent when you have 2 different origin stories? Like that, it would be similar to me saying that, you know, I'm trying to think of a comparative thing in comics where you have here's a good comparison story. So it would be just as ridiculous to say that the Guardians of the Galaxy story arc is consistent with the original story arc of Guardians of the Galaxy. If you don't know about like the 2, they are pretty different, right? They kind of updated the story arc and everything like that. My point is that the origin stories and the story arc of both of them are radically different. And that's the same thing as with the Bible here, except they are more different, right? I mean, they have basic plot lines and everything like that. But when you actually look at the details, they're not consistent at all. This extends all throughout the Bible. None of it is consistent. I'm going to need some fucking citations.
The Bible is composed of 66 books, written by 40 authors in 3 languages, in 3 continents, over 1,500 years. And yet its themes and story remain unified.
No, they don't. I mean, themes maybe. I mean, not even themes, because like in Mark, you have the least shall be first theme. That's very prominent, and then the other gospel authors wrote in different ways to teach different things. So I mean, you're just completely and utterly wrong. But also, it doesn't matter how much it's been copied. Like up until the printing press was invented, it was hard to get a consistent Bible between 2 different copies, right? These were minor things that got changed, most of them, but there were some very, very big ones that did get changed. But this is how we can track exactly how different, like, the Bible is, like how different authors rewrote the Bible. We can track the changes. But once people started getting literate or becoming literate, and the printing press was invented, at that point, you had a more standardized Bible. But before that point, there was nothing whatsoever consistent about any one Bible, right? As far as comparing one Bible to another Bible, definitely not consistent. So I don't even know why you're fucking bringing up 1,500 years of copying all these different books and shit. Like, it just really doesn't matter.
It was written by farmers and shepherds and kings, prophets, tax collectors, all who agree on the 2 subjects notorious for war and discord. You know them, religion and politics. How could all 66 books written in prisons, palaces, wilderness deliver one message? It's the same message.
Are you literally saying it's amazing they copied shit down? Because these people, they had these religious traditions of copying the books, right? And I know a lot of apologists like to put a lot of stock in how they copied texts. But I mean, it wasn't just the religious. This was like the ancient art of the scribe and whatnot, of copying books down and everything like that. I mean, that was developed outside of like Judaism and Christianity, okay? And so, I mean, to be in awe over the fact that they could copy words from one page to another page is pretty fucking sad. So I don't understand how this plays into the Bible being accurate, other than you're trying to say that it's been accurately copied down and translated and propagated through time. But you're not critically taking a look at how the Bible has changed over those centuries, and the fact that prior to 300 AD, which is the earliest date for our oldest copy of the Bible, our oldest codex, we do not know anything that got changed. We don't know about anything that got changed prior to that point. We do have fragments of like the Gospels and everything like that, but we really don't know if the Bible that we have now is the same Bible that was generated in the 1st century, in the 2nd century. Well, I mean, we do know it's not that, but we don't know what the exact contents were of the original text.
We don't know how different it is.
But we don't know how different it is. That's right.
The message of God's eternal plan and how he will save his people. Can I get a witness? The Gospels were written in a time when other eyewitnesses were still alive.
No, they weren't. Mark was written in 78 or after 70 AD. Matthew was written after 80 AD. Luke was written after 93 AD. Even at 70 AD, that's pushing it really, really hard to have eyewitnesses around. And so I don't see peasant people being able to live until their 80s or 90s or what in the fuck ever in the first century. Now, if you're talking about elites, like rich people that had access to good health care for the first century, for good food, who could eat properly and all this other stuff. I mean,
if they were babies, they would be 40 or 50 if it's written in 70 AD.
Well,
they were babies, but that wouldn't be a good eyewitness.
Well, right. Well, no, what she's talking about with eyewitnesses are like the disciples and stuff.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, they'd be a little bit older.
So, like when she's talking about eyewitnesses, she's talking about people the disciples' age, which the disciples' age would have been like either mid-20s to early 30s in the first century, which was when Jesus was crucified. And so you're talking 40 years after that. You're talking between 70 and 90 as far as when the Gospels were written. There were no eyewitnesses to this. In fact, just to drive it home with you, none of the Gospels mention eyewitnesses. They don't mention anybody as a source that was an eyewitness. The only sources that they draw from are scriptures. So they don't even attempt to tie themselves to an earthly source other than God's word.
Alive. In fact, there were at least 300 eyewitnesses of the resurrection still alive when 1 Corinthians was written. You can find that in 1 Corinthians 15, 3-8.
Now, this is the Pauline Creed, right? This is the where it mentions about how Christ died for our sins according to the scriptures. He was buried. He raised from according to the scriptures. And then it goes into a list of people that saw Jesus after he resurrected from the dead. Paul never mentions anybody that saw Jesus prior to his death. Paul never talks about Jesus being born. Paul never talks about anything but after Jesus has supposedly resurrected from the dead. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. In this portion that she's talking about the 500 witnesses that were there that saw Jesus resurrect from the dead. Now, let me ask you this. If I were to tell you that 500 people saw Aerosmith play in Huntsville, Alabama, but there's no video recording of it, there's no evidence whatsoever other than these 500 witnesses, could you then go and find who those 500 witnesses were? If I just tell you that there's 500 people that saw this motherfucker sing, Steve Tyler. He sings for Aerosmith, right?
Steve, yes.
Yeah, Steve Tyler. Just had to make sure I got that straight. Could you go and find like somebody that went there? I mean, what's the population of Huntsville? I think it's like in the hundreds of thousands. Let's see, Huntsville, Alabama population. We got 196,000 people in 2019 that lives in Huntsville, Alabama. Out of 196,000 people that live here, could you go find 500? Now, even if you were to translate that to like people that were in Judea at the time, or people that were in that area of the world, you're still talking about a huge number of people, and you're tasked with finding just those 500.
I mean, I've seen Steven Tyler in concert.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Did you see him in Huntsville last week?
No, he
Okay.
wasn't in Huntsville last week.
See? Told you. That's awesome, honey. You'll have to tell me that tonight about your seeing Steven Tyler. Aerosmith. My point is that just saying 500 people saw Jesus resurrect from the dead does not actually prove that 500 people saw him resurrected from the dead as some magical celestial ghost.
Writings would quickly be disregarded if false testimony was given with so many witnesses still present. The Gospels, those are the books of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
I'm sorry, she just talked about how it's really hard for them to put out these Gospels when there's so many people that saw something happen. What year do you live in? Is it like 2015 or something? Because we just went through 4 years of hell of misinformation. People have printed and said things that are verifiably false. You can literally rub their noses in how wrong they are, like a dog that shit on your carpet. But they still put it out there. They still believe it. There are literally, right now, people that believe that Trump is going to get back into the Oval Office on March 4th. How can you say that people wouldn't have written lies about something, or wouldn't have made something up, or wouldn't have just bullshitted their way through it if there were so many witnesses? Everybody witnessed the insurrection rally, but people are going to deny that the MAGA people were the insurrectionists. They're going to say it was Antifa. It just blows my mind how you think that just because 500 people saw it means that they wouldn't have written lies about it.
And John offer 4 accounts of Jesus' time on earth. What's noteworthy is that each of these books seem to be written in complete independence of one another.
No.
What? No, bitch.
She needs to put that through the plagiarism thing.
Yeah. They were definitely not written independently. No. So, basically, and this is going to be kind of a summary of the current consensus in the scholarship, right, about this. This would include biblical scholars that are religious and non-religious. Just everybody agrees. Mark was the first gospel and actually the only independent gospel. Matthew copied from Mark. Luke copied from both Mark and Matthew. And then John copied from all 3 of them motherfuckers. So really, out of the 4 gospels, you have one gospel message. That's the only one. The rest of them were copies off of Mark that changed shit and pushed different things because they wanted to teach different things. All you have is Mark. That's the original gospel. That's the one that was written first. Deal with it.
They speak from various points of view, and it's just not what you expect to find from 4 different accounts. Like, if you and I were going to do a coordinated collaboration and we wanted it to be believable, but it's still a made-up story, wouldn't we sit down and go over exactly what we would say to ensure that it was consistent? It's just not what we find in the Gospels.
How is that not what we find in the Gospels? I mean, true, the people that literally wrote the Gospels did not sit down with each other and try to figure out how to make this shit work. One person wrote it in the 70s, Mark, and then 10 years later, you have another fuck who got a hold of Mark's gospel and was like, this is bullshit. I hate every fucking thing in this motherfucker. I'm going to change it. I'm going to make Jesus more magical. He's going to do magical shit. And that's going to be the end of it. That's how it happened. I know it. Because Donald Trump told me. And then you got Luke after 93 AD that was like, hey. Those 2 motherfuckers are wrong. The story was much longer. And so he ended up writing Acts as well as his own personal version of the gospel message. And then you got John, who's like, all these motherfuckers weren't smoking the right weed. Oh, God, come, let's do this. And then he wrote his own gospel that refutes all of the other gospels because they were fucking delirious. He's got the right gospel, the Republican Jesus that don't give a fuck about y'all.
Some mention details that others leave out. One might tell the first part of the story, and the other might tell the second, and it all depends on the author's point of emphasis. It's what would happen if each of us just told the same story naturally. So,
No, it's not. Like, I mean, okay, let's just take the finding the empty tomb, right? So in Mark, you if I'm not mistaken, you just find a young or they find the tomb empty, and then they're told by an angel to fucking go and tell nobody. And then a longer ending's tacked on where Jesus appears to them and tells them to tell disciples and shit. And then you've got Matthew, who's fucking comes in with an angel who fucking field goals the cover stone away, and like lightning and everything, and is like, Jesus ain't here no more, bitches. Go tell everybody, motherfuckers. And then fucking flies away like a goddamn, I don't know, angel or pterodactyl, kind of shit. And then Luke just has two naked boys inside the tomb that probably got molested by Jesus, and they're just like, he ain't here no more, and so they left. And then John, oh fuck, I can't remember how John's empty tomb is. Let's see. We go. Maybe John's empty tomb has the two. Let's see. Oh yeah, she just found the tomb empty. Let's see. Mark 16. Mark and John are the most ambiguous ones. Let's see. The tomb there's. Oh, okay, yeah. So Mark has just one young man dressed in a white robe that's sitting in the tomb and tells them, "Don't be alarmed. You're looking for Jesus, but he's risen. He's not here. Go ahead into Galilee. There you will see him, just as he told you." But then Jesus appears to him and says, "Hey, don't tell nobody, bitches. Okay? Snitches get stitches, bitches." And then, sorry, I gotta put this up here. Uhan put this in our Skeptic Mafia Discord. I think you're gonna really like this, honey.
Okay.
I think it's caught up. Do you see it?
Oh yeah, yeah. He said this to me.
But so as far as all that goes, no, they're not consistent. Not just like us telling stories. If you were to compare this to us just telling the same story, like at a crime scene or wherever in the fuck J. Warner Wallace wants to envision, but if you want to envision it, one person would say, "Oh, dude over there, just conjured a pistol in his hand and then shot the other dude." And then the next guy...
Beer money.
Beer money. That's going to get me every time. The next guy says, "Oh, well, you're not going to believe this shit, officer. So, basically, an angel came down like a fucking pterodactyl and dropped off a semi-automatic machine gun to the dude, and then he picked it up like fucking Rambo and went... and just obliterated the guy." And then Luke has Luke would be like, "Listen, these two strange as fuck, like the shining looking little bitches came up, gave the dude two guns, and then he just blasted the motherfucker to hell." Right? And then the John's gospel would just be like, "Yo, I just walked up. He had a gun. The dude was dead." Like, I mean, these are radically different, right? These are radically different stories.
Matthew is speaking to a Jewish audience, and he wants to convey Jesus as the king and predicted deliverer. Luke gives us a history lesson and shows Jesus' human side. John's focus is evangelism. Mark stresses Jesus as a servant who suffers for the good of others. Together, they give us a fuller picture.
None of that is true. So each gospel redacted Mark's gospel and the previous gospels in order to tell the stories that they wanted, right? Now, she said that Luke told it from a historical perspective, when in fact Luke took his influences from like Josephus, from Odysseus, from Odyssey rather. He took his influence from all of these other different historical scholars at the time, historians, and to act like these people were just telling the same story in different ways is really fucking ridiculous when you actually consider the differences between the different stories.
And how similar they also are, like in words.
Well, yeah, so Casey brought up a good point, in case you didn't hear, how similar they are even in words, because there are verbatim copies of Mark in both Matthew and Luke. And so you also have to consider like the verbatim copies of words.
Let's talk about the misfit heroes of the Bible. Now, if I were going to write the Bible, I might have conveniently left out that Moses committed murder, or that David killed a man because David got his wife pregnant, or maybe that Paul relentlessly persecuted Christians. But these and hundreds of other sins and details and stories did not get left out. There they sit in print for us to read thousands of years later.
Yes, for a purpose. That purpose being showing that humanity is flawed, humanity is fucked up. God is perfect. You need God because you're fucked up. You make bad decisions. You're a dumbass. Suck God dick. That's the reason why it's in there. That's the reason why in the Gospels the disciples are dipshits, because they're a representation of Israel and Judah at the time. Or well, I think they were one nation at that point, so it was a representation of Israel. They were representation of the 12 tribes of Israel. They were dumbasses. They didn't get Jesus' message because they're dumbasses and dipshits, and that's what the Bible wanted to tell you, is that humanity, God's chosen people... Sorry, my money gun just took a dive. God's chosen people are dumb as fuck. That is the point it was trying to drive home. The original authors wanted to make the people that would believe in this feel like dumbasses. Why would they leave out a crucial point in what they were trying to teach people? This is basically the embarrassment criteria, which is primarily only used in biblical studies, by the way. They literally have to use their own special criteria in order to prove their points. That should set off a red flag in the old cranium there. So embarrassment criteria is the weakest kind of evidence that you could ever provide for establishing anything as truthful or as actually happening in history.
Years later. Why? Instead of only representing one side perfectionism, these misfit heroes of the Bible can give us hope for our own lives. We are not perfect, we do terrible things as well, but God can still use us as He used them. Prophecy is another topic to consider. There are 1,239 prophecies in the Old Testament and 578 prophecies in the New Testament. That's according to J. Barton Payne's Encyclopedia of Biblical Prophecy Lists. That's a total of 1,817 biblical prophecies, many of which have been fulfilled. No other book has dared be so laden with telling the future. But what about...
I'm sorry, Miss Cleo has a problem with you. Nostradamus is in the hall looking to kick your ass. Hey, hon, can I get an Arnold Palmer? For one thing, the prophecies in the Bible are shit. Now, if I were to prophesize, or if I were to say, like, something that I could get out of just general, like, guessing, right? Like, informed guessing. Like, if you know a bit of information, you can see the signs coming, boom, there's going to be a war with Israel, or there's going to be a Jewish war, right? You could predict it like years out and say, hey, this is coming, and then you'll look like a prophet. But also, most, if not all of these prophecies never actually came to pass. Like the prophecy of Tyre, that never actually got fulfilled. None of the Old Testament prophecies about like Jesus got fulfilled. Well, they got fulfilled in the sense that later writers looked back and were trying to discern like what Jesus was supposed to do when he's here, or like miracles he was supposed to do. They definitely looked at the Old Testament for prophecies about what he's supposed to do, especially the Elisha narratives, and other prophets that existed in the Old Testament, the miracles that they did. Thank you, hon. Like they mined those for the things that Jesus was supposed to do. But to suggest what you're suggesting is just fucking ridiculous with the prophecies, because none of them were fulfilled for Jesus. I mean, if they fulfilled prophecies just like Harry Potter, like all of the books after the first book fulfilled what the first book was sort of foreshadowing for the end of the series, right? There was foreshadowing all throughout the Harry Potter series. So, I mean, you see this in other longer series too, where they foreshadow what is to happen at the end because they've already got the end planned out. It's the exact same thing with the Bible, except the Old Testament writers didn't have it planned out for the end. So the New Testament writers looked back at the Old Testament writers and guessed at what the end was supposed to look like.
These stories. I've heard people say something like, yeah, I believe the Bible, except for Jonah being swallowed by a fish and living. That's too much. Well, why wouldn't be Jesus rising from the dead, or even the whole earth flooding? I'm just not sure. But it's important to say that God is not constrained by the natural laws he created. And honestly, I don't think that humans would be happy with or without the miracles.
Oh, how convenient for him. Every time I say that line, I think of what's his face? Christian Bale and his rant on the set of Terminator Salvation. Because it just always rings in my head when he screams, "Oh, how convenient for you." And it's just like, oh, how convenient for God that he's not bound by the natural laws that he created, because he exists outside of this reality. So he's magical as shit. He can do anything that he wants to. But in the olden times, in the Old Testament and the New Testament, God did magical shit. He broke the laws of nature just anytime he wanted to. He was reckless. He was like a drunk teenager with a car and a fake license, and his father worked for the police. His father was captain of the police. He could get away with fucking murder, and he was just like all willy-nilly and everything, fucking all over the world. But then, I don't know what changed, but all of a sudden, God got less and less magical. Because nowadays, he just helps women like this and other privileged people get what they want out of life. Either money, finding your keys, getting that A, whatever in the fuck. And that's what he does. He doesn't do anything magical now. But he's not bound by the laws of reality. He's not bound by natural laws. Oh, well, then why doesn't he make it like snow in, I don't know, someplace where it never fucking snows? I don't know where that is. Hawaii. Why does he make it snow in Hawaii? Has it ever snowed in Hawaii?
I don't know.
Has it ever snowed in Hawaii? Or Florida. Florida. Hello from Florida. With the exception of the far northern areas of the state, most of the major cities in Florida have never recorded measurable snowfall, though trace amounts have been recorded or flurries in the air observed few times each century. So then,
when it does occur, it's above 8,000 feet in elevation, so very high on the mountain.
well, right, and I mean that would obviously occur anywhere on the earth that high in elevation. So, I mean, like, why doesn't God do magical shit sometimes now? It's just very odd how God just abruptly stopped doing magical things. But of course, he's not bound by the laws of nature.
Or without the miracles. For example, if he had never done anything supernatural outside the laws of physics, we would question if he was really there or if he was truly powerful. Yet when he does them, we say, nah, I can't believe that could ever happen. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? So that said, I admit to still being curious about some of these specific stories, and I can't go into those details now, but I would recommend that you check out answersingenesis.org or gotquestions.com for things like, could Jonah survive being swallowed by a fish? Was there really a Noah's Ark and flood? What about dinosaurs? Okay, next question.
No. We have to hit on the fact that you actually quoted or cited Answers in Genesis and gotquestions.org. What the fuck? Yeah, I know. Uhan upgraded his membership.
He wanted to see it.
Yeah, he wanted to see it. And I mean, I want you guys to see it. And it hasn't happened yet.
Maybe it only happens for new members and he's upgraded.
I'm not sure, but I know that I can make it happen.
Okay, make it happen.
Let's see. Super chats, member. Oh, wait. No, member, custom.
We got a new member.
There you go. I'm so sorry I had to manually get that done there, Uhan. I don't know what in the fuck.
It's the first time. You'll get it worked out.
Yeah, I'll get it worked out. Thank you so much, Uhan, for upgrading your membership.
Been altered. The Bible is not a translation of translations. It was written in Greek, Aramaic, and Hebrew.
Well, yes, but I want to emphasize this. Unless you speak Aramaic, Greek, and Hebrew, you're reading a translation. It is a translation of translations because it gets translated from one language to another. If you read it in English, you're reading a translation.
Which which people still speak today. No one questions whether we have the original words of Plato, but there are only 7 ancient copies, and the oldest are separated from the original by 1,200 years.
Well, so to put this in perspective here, Plato is much, much, much older than the Bible. But Plato's writings were not regarded as divine word as was what was written in the Bible. And so it makes sense that his works would only be scantily preserved. Now, she did word it very specifically because she said ancient works. So we have 7 ancient works. I think she's talking about 7 ancient original, like as original as can be, copies of Plato's works. And that's probably true, but we have 250 actual like copies of his work that are not like modern copies. They're older copies. So, I mean, to compare Plato to the Bible is a bit of a it's an analogy fallacy. Like it's fuck, I can't remember the name of the fallacy, but it's just a bad analogy. Like you're comparing 2 different things here. Maybe equivocation? I'm not sure.
Socrates has no surviving manuscripts, and the closest book printed ancient copies to the Bible is Homer's Iliad, with 643 copies within 500 years of the original.
Okay, it really doesn't matter how many copies there are of like Socrates or Aristotle, Homer, Plato. Like, it doesn't really matter about all those things, because just because the Bible was copied more, because it's still a very central thing in our society, that does not mean anything about whether or not it's true. Harry Potter could be copied for hundreds of years, thousands of years even, and that still wouldn't make it true. It could have billions upon billions of copies of it. It is still not reality. It is still fantasy.
To the original. By enormous contrast, there are more than 5,600 copies of the New Testament within 100 years of the original.
I don't see how she can know that. I don't know what they're counting as copies, because the way that she's saying it is like we have all of these things from the original. We don't have the original. We have fragments of early copies. We don't have the original. Okay? So there's no way that we could have 560 copies of the original, because we don't know what the original was in order to compare them to the copies that we do have. Now, we probably do have 560 copies from about 300 AD onward, but that's not 100 years after the originals were written. Paul was writing in the 50s, so 100 years after that would have been 150. That's the middle of the 2nd century. That is actually when the separate parts of the Bible were compiled together into what we would know as the modern Bible. we got Zach Clark who did a super chat or upgraded their membership. Apparently the service I use does not recognize upgrades and only new members, apparently. I know they want to see the thing again.
I know. That's why I did it.
See, member alert. Oh, wait, hold on. I can just do this. What was it? Zach Clark.
We got a new member.
Thank you so much, Zach, for upgrading your membership. All right.
Let's talk about the Dead Sea Scrolls. In the 1940s, a shepherd boy found what are now known as the Dead Sea Scrolls in the Qumran caves in Israel. The Dead Sea Scrolls contain the oldest copies of scripture ever found, even as early as 4th century BC. Secular archaeologists also confirmed their validity. Fragments of the book of Isaiah were recovered, which was written hundreds of years before Christ, and not a word had been altered. It is safe to say that the Bible has the same words today that it's had throughout the centuries.
Yes, so just because a book is copied accurately, regardless of whether it was a human copying it or a machine producing copies of it, that says nothing about whether or not what's printed or copied is accurate and really happened in history. That has literally nothing to do with accuracy of the Bible. It has something to do with the accuracy of copying the Bible in the Jewish culture and in the Christian culture, but it has nothing to do with whether or not the Bible is accurate and correct in history.
Accuracy of the words are also reliable. So next question, does archaeology support the Bible? The Bible is not a collection of cleverly invented stories according to 2 Peter 1:16. It is full of names, people, places, stories that can be verified. Thousands of ancient writings from hundreds of sites have been excavated, confirming the Bible's accuracy. Of course, not all archaeologists agree on dates and interpretation. Cutting technology changes previously set datings, and new artifacts suddenly bring people into existence. But it is compelling and worth investigating on our journey of proof.
I agree. Archaeology and what archaeology can tell us is important as to what actually happened in reality. Archaeology, when taken honestly, can tell us whether or not the Bible is accurate in its history. I would love for you to provide fucking citations for how archaeology supports the Bible. Because as I've found, archaeology does not support the Bible, other than establishing that certain people and places existed in history, which do not prove that the events surrounding those people and places actually happened.
Lots of works of fiction use actual people and places.
Right. Harry Potter uses London. Just because London is an actual city that exists does not mean that, the UK. We'll say the UK. And because the UK exists, that means Harry Potter's real. Or New York means that Spider-Man is a true story. It doesn't mean that, but that is akin to what she's saying here.
Here are just a very few select archaeological findings that support the Bible. Many ancient cities such as Babylon, Beersheba, they're mentioned in the Old Testament, have been located and date back to coordinating times in the Bible. There's also proof of the Hittite population. These were enemies of the Israelites that didn't exist until the 19th century. What is believed to be the city of Sodom was discovered and appeared to be abandoned suddenly, as stated in Genesis 19.
Okay, so there's a few things to clarify here. for one thing with the Sodom deal, there's been a place that's been discovered in the general area where biblical scholars think that Sodom would have existed that was hit by an asteroid, right? This is found in a Forbes article that discusses a recent scientific discovery with one caveat, but not scientific, archaeological. With one caveat, the archaeologist is actually Philip J. Sylvia of, and see if you can guess this, Trinity Southwest University. Do you know what Trinity Southwest University is? Ding, ding, ding. If you guessed a Christian unaccredited university, you would be correct. So it's an unaccredited Christian doctrinal university that's produced this archaeologist, which he's from there. I don't know if he got his archaeology degree from there, but he apparently teaches at the university, and he's an archaeologist, and he's established that this is Sodom, when in reality they don't know that it is Sodom. Beer money. They haven't actually shown that it's Sodom. Like, they haven't found like street signs that say Whore Street Sodom or something like that. They haven't found that. All they found is a city that once existed in this one place that seems to have been hit by an asteroid or a giant meteorite, right? And so they just flat out say, oh, this must be Sodom because it checks off all of the fire and brimstone and destruction type thing of Sodom. But that's not actually true. I mean, they have a name for it, which I believe it's called, let me look here. It's Tal El Hammam is the city name. So if they say, the Forbes article that I have concludes that if Tel El Hammam is Sodom and it was destroyed by a cosmic airburst, the biggest question remains, did somebody, perhaps a deity, order the asteroid hit on Sodom? So, I mean, she's just automatically assuming, and so is this archaeologist, automatically assuming that this is Sodom. But it just seems to me like the Sodom and Gomorrah story is bullshit that's meant to teach some kind of lesson to the Israelites. That you gotta obey God and not want to gay fuck his angels and also be opening to people to your home in order to not get destroyed by God. That's what it seems to tell me.
Show that it was violently destroyed, as the account details in Joshua 6. King David's palace was recovered. Herod the Great's palace was also found, where Jesus was tried.
Oh, I think the Joshua reference right there, which I think that we may have accidentally skipped over.
Woo! Bear money!
Sorry. We had Uhan Roderick that says Star Wars is better than Star Trek, and Die Hard is the best Christmas movie of all time, just in case y'all forgot. Fuck. And then Caden says, yes, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I will die on this hill. Yeah, so she mentions Jericho, and I do want to cover that.
Jericho excavations show that it was violently destroyed, as the account details in Joshua 6.
No. This is completely wrong.
Woo, bear money.
Bear money from Daniel. Saying, I was going to mention in my Skeptic Mafia comment that if you join, you can make GE say, hey, hun, I'm buying a cat that indexes at 1. What? I'm not buying a cat, nor am I indexing at 1. That's blasphemy. Okay, so for Jericho, there has been archaeological evidence of Jericho existing, but it's got a caveat. It's got a little mark on it, right? So, the wall that surrounded Jericho collapsed or was destroyed by an earthquake in the late 17th century and early 16th century BCE. So right around that, straddling that line right there, the walls of Jericho were destroyed. Now the problem is that in the Bible, around 1400 BCE, Jericho was attacked by the Israelites by them marching around the city 7 times, blowing their horns and having a hissy fit. God destroyed the walls of Jericho and they invaded. Now, why is this an issue? Well, for one thing, the walls were destroyed late 17th to early 16th century BCE. Another problem is that from the late 15th century BCE to the 10th century BCE, the city was uninhabited. So in 1400 BCE, let's see. So the 15th century BCE starts in 1500 and runs down to 1400. So about 100 years prior to when the Israelites supposedly knocked down the walls of Jericho, Jericho was deserted. So if you want to imagine it, the Israelites are surrounding the city, this empty city, and then they storm an empty city. I don't know if they were doing this for practice or what, but it was empty. So there's no way that the biblical version of the Israelites taking on Jericho actually happened.
Covered. Herod the Great's palace was also found where Jesus was tried. Stone tablets have been recovered proving that Pontius Pilate existed, which had been up for debate. The Bible lists detailed genealogies in Genesis, Numbers, Chronicles, Ezra, Matthew, and Luke. These confirm prophecy that Jesus was from the line of David and reinforce scriptural accuracy and historic timelines.
Wait. Which genealogy? Is it the Matthew genealogy that establishes all this bullshit? Or is it the Luke genealogy that establishes all this bullshit? Because they're both different. They're both not consistent with each other. Which one establishes this? Because I feel like you saying all of this bullshit means that it somehow confirms that it's reality or that it happened in history. It didn't.
Worth your attention on an academic level and a personal level. At least consider spending some time in the most printed book ever written, the one that shaped humanity more than any other. I'd like to end today with a quote from Clifford Wilson. However, it is remarkable that where confirmation is possible and has come to light, the Bible survives careful investigation in ways that are unique in all literature. Its superiority to attack, its capacity to withstand criticism, and its amazing facility to be proved right are all staggering by any standards of scholarship. Seemingly assured results have been disproving the Bible have a habit of backfiring.
What? What the fuck? No. So it's superiority to attack, being the Bible's superiority to attack, its capacity to withstand criticism. Are you fucking serious? You're going to end with this particular quote because it cannot withstand criticism. It is not superior to attack. This entire quote right here reeks of just creationist bullshit. Like unapologetic apologetics. It's just so horrible, this final quote. Because nothing is true within this quote. All that you find within this quote right here is just blind faith, biased bullshit from somebody that has deep-throated Jesus's dick. That's all that you find in this quote. Only thing. So sad.
And next week when we ask, can we know if Jesus is the Son of God?
Oh God, I cannot wait for her final one. Holy shit, this has been a wild ride. Let me take 1 second and move back to the main cam here. Well, heathens, I've taken a little bit longer on today's video because I ranted a good bit. Plus, it was slightly a little bit of a long video there, but I just find it so fucking hilarious, you know, that these people think that they've got some kind of fucking gotcha for not just atheists, but just anybody that takes a critical look at the Bible and things that are said in the Bible. It amazes me how ridiculously clueless these people are, because all they do is they regurgitate things they've heard from like J. Warner Wallace or Lee Strobel, William Lane Craig, these basic ass apologists for the faith. They just regurgitate and repeat what they hear from these people, and they don't come up with anything new. They just baselessly claim these things, and they don't have any evidence behind them. How are you supposed to convince somebody that doesn't already believe in your bullshit that your bullshit is real? I feel like you got to look past the apologetics on this. You have to look at the actual evidence. Why is it evidence? Why does it mean that the Bible is accurate? Why does it mean that Jesus even existed in history? Why does it mean that the gospel message is fucking consistent? It's not fucking consistent. But they want to act like it is. It's just, it really grinds my fucking gears. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk on how dumb as shit the Bible and its consistency is. I really appreciate everybody being here tonight. If you're going to be leaving out and not staying for the Skeptic Mafia, the comments that I'm about to read, try to get through really quick, which I've heard that Dave Lee's is quite extensive. But I'm going to get through all of the Skeptic Mafia chat comments on the video so you can hear their perspective on it. If you too want to have a chance to give somebody or give your own view of the Friday night's video, then you need to join the Skeptic Mafia by going to joinskepticmafia.com. You too can leave a comment on the Friday night videos and let us know what you think. Because a lot of times the Skeptic Mafia thinks about things that I don't even remotely think of. So I really appreciate them bringing up things. But we're about to get into that. If you're not staying for that, I really appreciate you guys being here. Don't forget to stand up, use your voice, and all that kind of good shit. Smash the like button. Subscribe if you like this kind of live stream. And I guess I will see you guys on Monday, where we're going to be taking a look at Chris Yoon and how he handled the inauguration of Joe Biden. If you didn't know, Chris Yoon is one of those diehard Trumpers who thinks that Trump, even now, will still be president. So join us for that on Monday, and I will see you heathens later. But don't go, because we're getting to the Skeptic Mafia. All right, let me get these comments pulled up. I got them up on the screen, but I don't have them up over here. All right. Vanta Blue says, I feel this woman needs to learn a bit of how languages change over time and what translations do for understanding. Just because there are people today that speak, read, and write the mentioned languages doesn't mean they will understand the languages from close to 2,000 years ago. Hell, look at English from the 11th century and how different it is from modern English. That's a good example. Then there's the small issue of translations. Nuances are so very easily lost, mistakes so easily made, and concepts so easily destroyed when translating. Let's take an example. And no, GE, I don't expect you to even try pronouncing this. Dat in Raus Ostbrücken, there is a sprouted rose. Dat fins and grad roos. I don't know if that's, I don't know. Vanta, tell me if I got anywhere close. I feel like alcohol makes me better at pronouncing things. Maybe not pronouncing things in a different language. Translations mess up a lot. So to think the English Bible, whichever of the many versions, is anywhere near perfectly translated from its original meaning and is idiotic. And I doubt there are many that can read all the three ancient languages perfectly and will agree on the translation. I definitely wholeheartedly agree on that. The Ruined Warrior says, starts off strong with a lie about the Bible's consistency. This is going to be good. Alex Baranowski, or the pedantic skeptic, in the chat right now. What did I just listen to? She doesn't even make sense. She just runs her mouth. The Bible calls bats birds, grasshoppers four-legged, and conflates whales with fish. Yeah, that's kind of dumb. She appeals to the widespread nature of the Bible or its popularity. A book isn't true just because a bunch of people read it or accept it. There isn't really a case she makes for the claims of the book being correct. She just special pleads away from the problems of the book. If you would like to see me dissect these types of videos, I started a new channel called The Pedantic Skeptic, where I critique apologists and have a bit of fun doing it. You should also watch GE's content and join the Skeptic Mafia. For a little money each month, you can get exclusive content and vote for the Friday video. Don't forget to wear a mask and wash your damn hands. Which, if you guys don't know, in the in the description of tonight's video, I do also have a link to the GE mask that we have on Teespring. Also, if you want to get the Got Evidence shirt, I have a special link in the description tonight for you to go and get the Got Evidence shirt. Sean J. At the start of the video, I feel she would feel insulted if she wasn't purposefully made / created by her God. False premise that the number of copies of a Bible printed somehow lends its credibility instead of being a required book to own in most Christian faiths. The number of copies printed of the Bible is just evidence that the religions that utilize it have many followers. Agree. I'm sure GE will go over how a carefully curated book like the Bible can be so inconsistent in its messaging. And still, you have people like her stating how consistent, unified it is. I'm not saying she hasn't read the entire Bible, but it certainly seems that she hasn't critically read the Bible and is merely repeating debunked talking points about it. If she would take the Jesus out of her mouth and read the Bible critically without presupposing it is true, I doubt she would have a positive view of it. Then she claims that God is supernatural because there are fanciful stories in the Bible that do not comport to reality. Yep, totally 100% more likely that a supernatural being took his dick out of all of his followers' mouths, all of his followers' mouths, and bent reality to achieve some event rather than it being a retold, inflated story. It's almost as if we have heard all these before. So sad. The Random Explorer says, I can answer this one without even watching the video. Nope. Command Cyborg. Let's see. Argument from the number of copies for about a century, just about the only one nearly mandatory book. See final statement. The Gospels are hardly independent, more like embellishments on the previous ones, and one is more like fan fiction than reading the others. She is correct. They have different emphasis. Seen audiences. See final statement. Prophecies. A number of them aren't supposed to be ones, more describing stuff happening. Some are clearly written after the fact, some of which, with speculation on the future from the author, of which the more important that just didn't happen. Some fulfilled through data mining. I have this story. Let's see if anything fits it in the scriptures, or perhaps it can be tweaked to fit. That's just wrong, so no. An old book describing places and people from the time is hardly remarkable. Compare with places in London described in Harry Potter. Hey, we did that. Sure, it can be seen as okay literature. That doesn't define make. Good point. Gary White. Okay, for one, I got confused and technically I didn't understand where she was going with talking about how the Bible is accurate to me. To me, the Bible isn't accurate, but that's just my opinion. Jonathan Nickel has a novel. First of all, I am delighted to hear that both you and Casey have survived COVID. I hope you are both feeling much better and there are no long-term health issues. We hope that too. I guess only time will tell, but for right now, I don't really see any long-term issues or anything like that happening. Now, for the video, which is set up as a part 2. I doubt we missed anything in part 1. Actually, this is part 3, I think. It should be part 3 because part 1 is the cosmological part. So yeah, this is actually part 3, which I suspect was full of the usual creationist non-arguments. Whenever anyone speaks of Darwinism, my immediate response is you do not understand or will purposefully misrepresent evolution. Her assertion that we were made by God who adores us is just that, an assertion. A God who adored us would not condemn anyone who didn't believe he existed. This is Christian love bombing. I agree. She then launches into appeal to popularity. It doesn't matter how many copies of a book were printed. That doesn't even make one word of its pages accurate. 50 authors. We do not know how many people contributed to that book or their names. The Bible speaks of eyewitnesses, but seldom names them or offers their individual testimonies. The numbers mean nothing if you can't verify any of the claims. The gospel authors appealed to different audiences. So what? That doesn't prove they're writing true. Prophecy? Some of the prophecies have already failed. Others are so vague they can mean anything. Like Miss fucking Cleo or Nostradamus. She said a number of prophecies have been fulfilled, but she hasn't given any examples. That's a good point. It doesn't matter if those stories seem strange because special pleading, God exists outside of nature. Anything outside of nature is unnatural. Whatever is not part of our reality does not exist within reality. If something defies the laws of physics, then it is physically impossible. Hand-waving something away as magic will not impress the rationally inclined. Good point again. She says that the Bible is unchanged and unchanging when various versions exist today and they do not line up with each other, and we don't have the original. It also doesn't matter that the book refers to real places. New York exists, but that does not mean that Spider-Man does. As for archaeology, was this the same archaeology which disproves Noah's flood and a crap ton of other nonsense asserted within that book? Well, yes, that does also refute Noah's flood, but also just basic mathematics would disprove Noah's flood. But of course, she says that God doesn't live within like the confines of nature. He's not governed or bound by the laws of nature that he created. So just fucking magical water everywhere. It reminds me of that meme I made where it's got Ken Ham on this mage's body. And he's just like, it's magic. I ain't got to explain shit.
When you're done with the comments,
Mm-hmm.
Drew thinks you're missing
Okay, thanks. Towards the end, she recommends AIG, which means that she has a very low standard of evidence and doesn't care for the truth. For that reason alone, I would disregard everything she says and insert 1 shilling here if you agree with me. Hey, do you want to help us donate to charity? Become a Skeptic Mafia member or send a super chat now. It would really help us out. Becoming a Skeptic Mafia member gets you a lot of great perks. For one thing, you get the just general sense of helping this world out by helping us donate money to various charities. This month, it's the North Alabama Food Bank. We're going to be definitely donating at least 2,100 meals to them from what we made this month. And then in future months, we're going to be donating to different charities. So, if you want to help us make the world a better place, become a Skeptic Mafia member today. Gary White again says, I can watch the video and then give my opinion about it as soon as I get done eating. I don't want to spit my food out. Thank you, Gary.
We had 2 other comments, Jane and Wacko in Seattle.
Oh, okay, hold on. They were held?
Yeah, they were held for review. I approved them.
Okay. Oh shit, I'm all out of order now because I didn't sort. I sorted by top comments before. Ruined. Okay, let's see. Here's Jake, or not Jake, Jane. Here's Jane's comment. Oh, it's because she included a link. Yeah, they automatically hold those for some reason. Jane, after carefully listening to this, she seems to use the classical argument that you can prove the Bible with certain Bible passages in the Bible. One of the things that caught my attention is the famous Jonah and the whale, in which, believe it or not, I don't believe really happened, at least not the way the Bible describes it. Book of Jonah, the Book of Jonah was meant to in no way was meant to be factual rather than a parable to convey a message to Christians of God's love, compassion, and mercy when facing the storms and trials of life. However, that does not mean that certain parts of the story cannot happen at all. Here is a link below of Jonah and the whale story. Okay. While it is unlikely the Bible account of that story didn't happen, stories of almost being swallowed by one can happen. Okay. Human Cyborg Gary, Jonathan. All right, here's Daniel M. First off, I'm glad you and Casey are doing well. I was worried about you too. There isn't a lot I can go through accurately as far as some of the historical shit, but I'm learning that except just because the Bible mentions places and people, that doesn't make it true. By the way, a good app is the Crestus app. You can learn a lot from that. The Bible is absolutely not consistent. If it were, then why do we see so many denominations of Christianity? Anyway, join the Skeptic Mafia. If you have not joined yet, you should join now. No peer pressure at all, guys. Just join the Skeptic Mafia. Help people. That seems to be the correlation you need to make in your mind. Join Skeptic Mafia. Help people. Also get podcasts and special privileges here on the channel. It's just how it goes, okay? But also the Crestus app is also a good thing to get. I'm on the cusp. I'm about to release a major update that includes bookmarks for the app, as well as an all-new interface, all-new way of getting around the app that makes it so much easier. So definitely get the app if you like discussions on the history of Christianity. All right, Quentin Van Boeven. I really don't know what to say to this lady other than wrong. Please leave that in a Trump impersonation, okay? I really don't know what to say to this lady other than wrong. I feel like that's decent for me, right? I mean, her position of the Bible being 100% factual makes sense once she mentions AIG. The same people who say for critical thinking you should check if something agrees with the Bible before going any further. Anyway, have y'all heard of the skeptic mafia? Of course you have. We only plug it here every week, but I'm going to tell you about it anyways. You should already know what it gives you, but in case you forgot in our time off, it gives you some sweet ass emojis, which are highlighted in the Brocephus like new member thing, like member. A podcast every Tuesday, a monthly hangout, which is actually not this Saturday, but the next Saturday. We're going to be hosting the Skeptic Mafia Hangout.
Not tomorrow.
Not tomorrow, but the next Saturday. The ability to help choose Friday's videos. Yes, tonight's video was chosen out of a possible 3 videos that we could have reviewed by the Skeptic Mafia. So, if you want to blame anybody, blame the Skeptic Mafia. And of course, make comments like this where GE will say anything you like. Like, GE believe Donald J. Trump was the best president in American history. Well, as far as America goes, I guess they would probably consider him the best president ever. I guess I can't disagree with that on the face of it. As far as the United States of America history, no, he was the worst. Now, we get it. If you can't join the Skeptic Mafia, but you know what's free and helps GE out too, that's right, hitting the like, share, and subscribe buttons. It really helps with making the AI overlord look favorably upon GE here. Anyway, heathen, that's my time. Remember to stand up. Use your voice. Thank you so much, Quentin. Huh?
Did you find Drew's?
It does not seem to be here. I don't know. I'll refresh when I get done. Wacko in Seattle she says go to Answers in Genesis for more information. Enough said? I wonder if she had to sign the I'm a Believer pledge. And then a YouTube link. I thought about trying to get the video link to autoplay, but that's just mean. This link is safe. Let's see, what is it? I'm a Believer. By the Monkeys. I can't play that on here, man. That's going to get a copyright stricken. Thank you, Wacko. I appreciate you. Jonathan Hanachak just left a bunch of emojis after writing citation fucking needed. Urban Imposter also left his sentiments in emoji form. One was, another one was, and then another one was, oh, that kind of hurt. And then finally a laugh. Thank you, Urban Imposter. Everybody's going to start leaving emojis so that I'll actually act them out and shit. Hi, GE. Glad you are back and hope you are well. This is from Trickster. Anyway, I wrote this part from the title alone. No, in most cases, the Bible is not accurate. Should we forget the part of the Bible that states, and God laid the earth upon its pillars? Or the part in Genesis that talks about the firmament that separates the seas from the seas below. The seas above from the seas below. The Bible is far from consistent, lest we disregard all the clear contradictions. She does realize that the Gospels were not written by eyewitnesses, and just a small point, the names of the Gospel writers, I'm pretty sure, are not Palestinian or even Jewish names. She brings up fulfilled prophecies, but seems to forget about the many prophecies that were not fulfilled, such as the prophecy of Tyre not being inhabited ever again. It was, I believe. Just because certain civilizations and people in the time some of the Bible was written does nothing to prove the accuracy of the Bible. Like, subscribe, and share this. If you can help GE out with a couple of bucks, you can be a Skeptic Mafia member, and GE will give you all sorts of really cool stuff, such as a podcast just for members every Tuesday, hangouts, and really cool emojis to play with. You also get to be some of the first ones to see Friday's video and drop a comment and let everyone out there know how you feel about the topic being discussed. Again, GE, I'm glad you're feeling better and hope you and yours are doing good. Missed you guys while you were gone, but rest assured that even in your absence, I have stood up and used my voice, wore a mask, and washed my danged hands. Thank you so much there, Trickster. I really appreciate you doing all that. That's really awesome. And then Dave Lee has a pretty extensive comment. Let me refresh real quick to see if I can find Drew's comment. I'm not seeing it, honey.
Drew's?
Yeah.
No, it's not hung up.
It's not hung up?
No.
Okay. I'll check here in a minute, Drew. Dave Lee. Opening text. 1. Is there proof that God exists? Reasonable question. Is life an accident? Reasonable question. Is the Bible accurate? Rather vague question. Is Jesus the Son of God? Whoa, buckaroo. What happened to question number 1? Some blah, blah, blah. Silly, worthless platitude. Can I get a waitress? I don't know, Kate. Can we get a citation? A witness, not waitress. Witness. Flag on the play. She just used 1 Corinthians 15:3-8 to claim that the Corinthians is true. Claims without evidence, blah, blah, blah. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Kate then claims that the inconsistencies between the Gospels are what makes the Gospels more believable. Paraphrased, misfit heroes and their misdeeds make the Bible more true. They didn't leave out the bad shit. Heathen eye roll. There are 1,239 prophecies in the Old Testament, 578 prophecies in the New Testament. I can't even. What about the harder to believe stories? Jonah swallowed by a fish, Jesus rising from the dead, the whole earth flooding. Kate's answer, but it's important to say that God is not constrained by the natural laws he created. Obviously. Can we get a fucking citation, please? Kate never answered, provided evidence for number 1. Jeepus, pretend baby Chris Farley. It's as though Kate's logic lives in a van... lives in a van down by the river. Blah, blah, blah. Kate doesn't think that people would be happy with or without the miracles, blah, blah. Supernatural, blah, blah. Outside the laws of physics, we would question if he was really there or truly powerful. Still waiting on that citation, girlfriend. Kate mentions AIG and gotquestions.org. Jonah, Ark, Flood. Then Kate gives a funny giggle when she mentions dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are the only thing here that Kate should not be giggling at. We have fossil citations, Kate. Then a bunch of blah, 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 blah about the Bible having the same words today as it did back then. I can only hope that Kate follows the King James Version. Kate, hey Kate, what did King James I do in 1604? Did AIG cover that? This is about 8:30 in, no more typing, except what would Jesus pretend baby Chris Farley have said? Why you gotta live in a van down by the river, you fucking broke fuck? That's what he would have said. Hey Kate, remember when you did that video and you rambled on for 11 minutes about the proof of God and Jesus and you never provided any proof? That was awesome! Thank you, Dave. Let's see. We apparently have at least one more comment from Drew. Hold on. Yeah, let me go back up top and sort by newest. Maybe it's filtering his out for some reason. Hang on. Oh, did I go over Michael W. Robles one?
I have no idea.
Oh, yeah, here's Drew's book reviews and Michael W. Roble. I don't know why it left some of y'all out. That's really fucking weird. Michael W. Roble What can we say about this young lady that has already been said? Every other dishonest, disingenuous apologist who has made the same false claims 1,000 times before. We could be kind to her and accept the fact that she truly believes that she is what she is saying, and then we would have to believe that she has critical thinking skills of a Ted Cruz voter. All my doubts evaporated when she cited answers in Genesis and reminded me of the old saying from long ago when I was in the military that goes, she has a drift factor of 5 on a 4.0 scale. What this woman needs is a good long education. Where was your mind going? It's great to hear that Miss KC is feeling better, and oh, you too, GE. I'm glad I'm the secondary thought. Thank you both for your enlightenment during these very weird times. I think I remember reading Uhans.
Oh, he said there it is. He saw it apparently, but.
Oh, maybe it's up. Oh, there it is in Trump voice. I see it.
You read one in Trump voice.
Yeah, that was a different person though. That wasn't Uhans. In Trump voice, there are billions and billions and billions of Bibles. There never been more Bibles printed. God is a great friend of mine. Thinks I do a fantastic job. Never been a better job done. Better. Me. Who cares how many damn Bibles are printed? Seriously, there have been 740 million to 2,775,000,000 Marvel comics printed since 1939. Does that mean they accurately represent reality? Well, yes, obviously. But my prophecy come true. No. Smash that like button, flick that subscribe button, ever so playfully poke that join button, and join the coolest club that ever existed. Seriously, it's ranked #1 in the world. Don't look that up. Christmas! Random political message trying to impeach Biden earns a massive farewell. Good point there, buddy. Christopher. Drew's book reviews. Is the Bible accurate? No, of course. It could be in some other alternate dimension of space-time. We don't know. Perhaps the theoretical physicist Brian Greene would know. Speaking of Brian Greene, did you know I just finished a book of his recently? It's true. Check out my channel for a video about it. But based on quantum theories, there are about 11 dimensions. It could be that the Bible is true in one of those, or maybe one of the alternate universes from the multiverse theory. But in this dimension and universe, it's not so accurate. But hey, nothing is impossible. Also, even though I work Friday nights now and I can't join live, I just wanted to say welcome back, GE and KC. It's good to have you back.
Yeah, that's it. No more comments.
Yep, we're done.
Chat, we're done.
I mean, it's been pretty long tonight. Oh man, that was a lot. Vanta Blue.
No comments from the chat. Let's go.
Okay,
We're done.
I know. Vanta Blue said the pronunciation made my day worst ever. It's a super chat, honey.
Oh.
It's not just a regular chat.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's all the super chats and everything. I've got to go. I'm sorry. Normally I take some questions and stuff from the chat. Can't tonight because it's gone on for about 2 hours and 15 minutes. That's about the longest one that I've ever had. But I thank you guys so much. In this chat alone, you guys have raised enough money to donate to the North Alabama Food Bank. And I'm so happy that you guys have done that. That is just beyond awesome, you guys. I really appreciate y'all. So we're going to be donating that money tomorrow, and I hope that you guys will have great night, weekend, everything like that. Join us Monday for Christians crazy shit, and then Wednesday we're going to have some more atheist shit.
And tomorrow on Tart.
Tomorrow on Tart, we have a debate on whether or not Jesus existed in history. So if you want to see me argue for that position that my entire app is based around, Crestus, then definitely show up for Tart. I will be putting it on the community tab, so just check that out. And on Sunday, be sure to call the line. Give me all of your best hopes and dreams on a call. I'd really love to hear them. We got one final super chat from Daniel M, who says, have a good night, GE and KC. Thank you so much, Daniel. I appreciate you.
Bye.
Anyways, We gotta go. We'll see you guys later. Don't forget to stand up, use your voice, all that kind of great shit. Bye, heathens. End stream. I'll get to it. Hold on.
Get to what?
Ending the stream.